This week in movies, I think we have to kick it off with Captain America Brave New World. My fatigue with the Marvel franchise machine has been evident, but I continue to try to go in as blank as I can, try to not come in with a chip on my shoulder, and to just let the movie tell me its story. To say, okay, take me, take me where you want me to go, because that's one of the benefits. I've talked about this before. When you get to see movies as part of the AMC A list, when you can see 3 movies a week, soon to be 4 movies a week for $20 a month. You're talking about 12 movies in a month, soon to be 16 movies in a month for $20. You can just go see everything. If you can find the time, you can just go see everything. So I try to go into these things without seeing trailers or whatever. And I can't say I was excited about Brave New World, because what I knew about it really looked like it. These Marvel movies have found a way to fit genre tropes into the superhero package. They like, oh, this is a heist movie. This is and then this one is the Cold War paranoia movie. This is the Manchurian Candidate, essentially. But they've got to give you something that you can't actually get from the Manchurian Candidate. At the end of the day, it should be more than just an homage to other better movies. I just don't think that Brave New World does that. And I got to tell you, I go in as open as I can. I realized about an hour into it, I'm like, oh, this is as good as this is going to get. We've got the promise of a Red Hulk fight, so I'm kind of waiting on that, because I like the idea of the Red Hulk. I'm not going to spoil any of that. By the way, all these reviews that I do, I'm not going to spoil the movie, because I want you to go see the movie. Even if I don't connect with something, there's something I liked about it. In Captain America Brave New World, it was the Hulk fight. It was the Red Hulk fight. So there's always something that I want you to see. I'm not here to spoil that for you. So if you're worried about that, somebody mentioned that in a previous episode. Like, I had to bail because I thought you were going to spoil something. No, don't worry. That's not the goal here. I thought that Brave New World was just empty. It had no emotion. It felt very joyless. It felt very... I know this is a word that bothers, a term that bothers some people, cookie cutter. How about another one? Assembly line. This is a movie that is just being put together. It's just the machine putting these things together, like, push him out the door, push him out the door. And we're getting, 3 or 4 Marvel movies this year. We had a year off, and I thought that maybe when we came back, there'd be a burst of creativity, or a burst of like freshness, that there'd be some... Like, okay, we've caught our breath a little bit. We can jump back into these with a renewed focus and energy and vision. And this movie has no focus. It has no energy, and it has no vision. It really, no vision, literally, if you want to talk about, Wanda and Vision. That's not what I meant. But it doesn't really go anywhere. It feels like an episode of a procedural television show stretched out to 2 hours. Mercifully, it's only 2 hours. It's not like 225 or something like that. But even then, listen, I like the idea of Sam Wilson as Captain America if we're not going to have Steve. But the movie doesn't make me care. I don't care about any of these characters other than... I really feel like they're there just to push plot through. I heard an interview with James Mangold recently. He's doing the press circuit to promote A Complete Unknown because it's up for 8 Oscars. And he said a movie should not be about plot. A movie should be as simple as it can be. And it should be based on the characters. And that's not what the Marvel thing is. The Marvel thing is all plot. It's all business. It's all like, well, we got to do the thing that introduces this thing to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie introduces something into the MCU that we've had on screen for 25 years now. But they're like, but now it's in the MCU. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, who cares? Really, who cares? And I know that talking about Marvel movies is kind of a dividing thing because people either love them or they're burned out on them. Again, I try to go into these things as blank as I can and just be like, okay, take me on the journey that you want me to go on. That's the best thing you can do, is to go into a movie and let the filmmaker guide you. You don't steer. You go where it takes you. And that's the point of a movie in the first place. Anything other than that is just fan service. It's just a product. And you don't respect movies that don't challenge you either. When you... Yeah, I always think that line in Willy Wonka where he goes, what happened to the boy who got everything he ever wanted, don't you, Charlie? He lived happily ever after. I'm like, nope, that's not true. That's a lie. That's a lie, Willy. So I know that there's a lot of people that love these Marvel movies, like I love the comics, and I should be very clear. I feel that loyalty to Marvel, but not to the movies. I feel it to the comics because the comics are the primary source. They're the thing that created these characters, and they can always do it so much better than the movies can, in my opinion. But you got to remember, I've been reading this stuff since the '80s, right? So I'm steeped in it. I just wanted more from Brave New World, and I didn't get it. It just felt very like someone wrote a list of the elements that this movie had to have, and then they crafted something around that. It doesn't have any sort of a tone or a voice or an authority. It doesn't really have a point of view. Those are all problematic. That's problematic. But you know, they're not going to stop. That's the thing. You realize, like, even though, remember when Bob Iger stepped down and then Bob Chapek came in and he made a mess of everything and Bob Iger had to come back? I mean, he didn't have to. They paid him enough money to come back. Like, Bob Iger doesn't care. He doesn't care about this stuff. It's just what makes money for the shareholders. They don't care if it's good. They care if it makes money. But people would go, you know, after the Chapek era, people were like, well, Bob Iger's got to clean up this mess and it's going to take a while for the quality to return. Well, it's been a few years now, and I'm still not really seeing an uptick in quality. But I will continue to give him a shot, and I got my fingers crossed for Fantastic Four. Thunderbolts to me looks just like the Suicide Squad. You know, Marvel fired James Gunn because of stuff. Because of stuff. We don't have to get into it. You know, you can get on the internet and check it out. They fired James Gunn, and he goes and does the Suicide Squad at DC. And I think that Marvel saw that and they're like, well, crap, what do we have that's similar? Well, we got the Thunderbolts, which is, I mean, it is very similar to the Suicide Squad in comic book form too. I'm not just talking about the movie. The whole idea of, like, it's a team of anti-heroes and or outright villains that go on missions that they may not come back from. And if they survive the missions, then they get to live to fight another day. Maybe they're pardoned. It's the Suicide Squad. And the Suicide Squad is older than the Thunderbolts, for sure. But I just feel like that the two trailers that I've seen, this movie really feels like Marvel being like, well, we can do that too, James Gunn. We can do it without you. How about this Thunderbolts movie? And so that's exactly what it looks like to me. To me, that's very cynical. That doesn't mean I'm not going to go see it. I will. But I've just given you my honest feedback on what I think they want us to connect with, the way they're promoting it and talking about it. It looks like a ripoff of another movie to me.